Let's talk about value propositions. We've spent some time detailing out personas, and now it's time to talk about the solutions we have in mind for the pain points that the persona is experiencing, and whether the solution is actually going to make a dent in the universe. So first, let's look at what are the components of a good value proposition. There is obviously a definition of the target user, and that's why we went through the whole exercise of defining a persona. There is a definition of the pain point and the problem that we're trying to solve. And then there is a hypothesis. So here is a solution, and here's the differentiation from alternatives that exist in the market or are already available to the user, irrespective of the competition.
Right, and we're going to talk through 3 different tools based on where we are in the journey of exploring the problems and solutions. And then we can, and these are again not exhaustive by any means, but one example from each of the kind of situation that we experience.
And so let's look at situation number one, which is that there is some sort of a hypothesis that your customer or your client or your stakeholder has. And what you want to do is give them a simple way of being able to articulate that. And we call that an elevator pitch. And it takes a number of aspects of the same framework that we shared with you. So for example, there is a target user who has a specific need, and you're building a product which is a kind of a solution, which is very unlike any of the alternatives that is available to the customer at this point, either in the market or from your nearest competition. And guess what? Here's the differentiation. And again, as we said, it's an elevator pitch. And why do we call it an elevator pitch? Well, if you get into an elevator with somebody, by the time the elevator stops and you get off the elevator, you should have been able to explain what your product is all about or what your service is all about. So let's take a quick example. This example will show my age for sure because I'm dated. And this is about Hotmail. Hotmail was the first web-based email service in the 90s. In those days, the only email you got was from your ISP. You didn't actually have email on your browser. You had to have thick clients, which you would update. And then, depending on the kind of ISP you had, there were certain features you would have and certain features you wouldn't have. And Hotmail brought in a completely new value proposition, right? For all internet users who wanted to communicate in long form. And long form is important here because there was short form communication, which was pretty good. It was called Internet Relay Chat, IRC. And of course, it's not as good as, let's say, WhatsApp, but it was good enough for those days. So this was for people who wanted to communicate in long form. Hotmail, the product name, was a web-based email solution, and users could access it from just about any browser. And it didn't matter what kind of browser you were using, whether it was Apache, Mozilla, later it could have been something else, right? And unlike thick email clients, which you would install on your laptop, Hotmail would be always accessible from the browser, which means you could access it from anywhere. It would always be up to date with the newest features, and it would always be up to date with your newest email the moment you went to that page. And of course, usability was a big plus.
Yeah.
And so if Sabir Bhatia was to get into an elevator with somebody, this is probably how he would describe the product that he was selling.
Okay.
So that's tool number one.
Yes.
Should we go to tool number two?
Yeah, before that, just want to add that this is, again, a great way of getting multiple stakeholders on the same page, because we often experience a lot of situation where you have stakeholders from different area, like a marketing person, the CEO, the CTO, the sales head, and so on. And all of them would have their own elevator pitches. But the elevator pitch for the product is to get them all on the same page and come to a consensus. And this is like a great facilitation tool if you're ever in that situation.
Yeah, indeed. At least it distills down what is the most important value that you're providing to your
and serves like a guiding line.
Indeed.
Right.
All right, so let's look at that next tool.
Right. So product in a box. Again, when I would recommend this particular tool is where you have nailed down the problem that you're trying to solve, and you're in a situation where you want to explore a lot of ideas and a lot of solutions. And this is, so let me talk about what a product in a box is. right? So the image that you see on the left is basically like, how would you market your product? Like, it's a marketing technique. So how we facilitate this exercise is you basically need cardboard boxes wrapped up with white chart paper. And the question that we ask is to the clients or whoever is playing this game, is that if your product was on the shelf and you were supposed to walk into a supermarket, what would make you do something with the product, with the box? So if your product was a box, what would compel you to buy the product and then take it in your basket, right? And so a lot of people come up with like very innovative ideas, innovative features that are probably at the back of my head and not at the front brain always. Again, like a very creative way to explore solutions. A lot of the times we pair up with the clients, put them into teams. And at the end of it, it is really useful to accumulate everything. Again, your elevator pitch will serve as a guiding light. Yeah. And then we can get the best of ideas from everyone.
Yeah, and just to note, this can be used in combination with an elevator pitch.
Yes.
So you could define an elevator pitch and then get into this very right-brained kind of fun exercise where everyone can then build on that mental model that they've already agreed on, right? Yeah. And then it can also be an alternative technique.
Yeah.
So you could choose not to do an elevator pitch and use this as a way to brainstorm what everyone's value proposition is, and then distill it down to something more simple and concrete.
Yeah, like if you already know your problem and the consensus is not an issue, start with this. All right, the third one is value proposition design. Now, this is if the problem and solution is vague, but we have some idea of each other. We don't know if the product really solves the needs, right? And the fitment is what we're trying to test. So value proposition canvas looks something like this. If you remember from the previous videos, we did the pains, gains, and we build the persona of the user. This is just detailing the gains part of it, pains part of it, and what a customer does, right? What does a day look like for a customer? And the right-hand side is the solution canvas. This is the customer side. That is, the left is the product side, which is, okay, what are your products and services currently? What is it that you're trying to solve? Out of these things, which part of the features alleviate the gains, and which part of the features, like which features relieve the pain, right? You might come across certain features that may not do either, which basically means that it's trying to drop them. They're not really as important as we thought they would be. Right. How to build this? There is a video at the end of this video, which explains how do we build a value proposition canvas, and there are certain assignments as well that you can do. You can choose to do them in your own project, or choose a problem from around you.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the interest of not repeating stuff that is already very well done on the internet, we will lead you to the next video, which you will find linked here. And after that, you can start with the assignment for this segment of the course.
Yeah.
Alrighty.